All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be talking about the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, I know that the season ended the way it did. I know who won the Super Bowl. I know who beat who. But at the end of the day, I still think the Cincinnati Bengals are the best team in the AFC. And honestly, nobody's really talking about the Bengals right now. I'm hoping it's more of the stance that like people just know they're good. People know Joe Burrow is legit. People know Jamar Chase. They know they have a good defense. They know they're well coached, and there just isn't much to talk about. When I look at Cincinnati, you see one of the best offenses in the league. I see one of the best defenses in the league. I see one of the best coaching staffs in the entire league, both offensively, defensively, deeper into it. You get the point here. Cincinnati improved this offseason. And I just want to say really quickly, last year, according to PFF, now I know PFF's not the end-all be-all, they ranked the Bengals offensive line at 28th. Fourth worst in the NFL. So what does Cincinnati do? Free agency hits, and they make a huge-ass splash and get Orlando Brown Jr. to play the left tackle role, to protect Joe Burrow, who had his butt on the floor too many times last season. All right, they gave up 44 sacks. That's not going to cut it. The big question mark for just kind of NFL media is, the Bengals lost so many pieces. They lost so many pieces. They lost Samaje Perine. They lost Hayden Hurst. They lost safeties. They lost so many pieces on the defensive side. And I'm thinking to myself, they had people who were either ready to come and fill that role, or they picked up people who are ready to come in and fill that role. Great example, just look in the draft in the first round, Myles Murphy. 1 year from now, people are going to be looking back at the draft and be like, how did Myles Murphy fall to the end of the first round? I don't know either. He hasn't even hit the field now. I have no idea. Before we get any further into today's video, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit the like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. I apologize. I haven't posted a Bengals video in way too long. They just always get hit for copyright, but it's just been too long. We'll find a way around it. So if we could get this video to 250 likes, that would be awesome. But I made so many Bengals videos last year because there was just something so special about that squad. And I want to say one thing really quick as well. With the offensive line being the fourth worst ranked in the league, their rushing attack was in both rushing yards, rushing attempts, rushing average. The Bengals were the third worst in all of those stats in the entire league. They were ranked 29th in all three of those categories. An improved offensive line is going to help that immediately. And I know like the Joe Mixon narrative has, depends on which Bengals fans you ask or NFL fans you ask. Some people are like all in on Mixon. Some people are a little on the fence. Some people are ready to move in a different direction. I think Joe Mixon is poised for a bounce back season, because we know what a healthy Joe Mixon can do. We know what he can provide. I know they went more in favor with Samaje Perine actually in that game against Kansas City. But if we rewind the clock 1 week back to Buffalo, what happened? Well, 20 rushes, 105 yards, and a touchdown, 5.3 yards per carry for Mr. Joe Mixon. And we take a look in the draft. So yeah, I will admit the loss of Samaje Perine is very unfortunate, especially considering just where he went. But neither here nor there. I'm looking at a cat named Chase Brown. The Bengals clearly see something in Chase Brown. They clearly see something in that running back unit where it's like he's ready. Chase Brown, 5-year player in college. We look at his last season at U of I, my hometown state. I loved actually visiting U of I. I had a bunch of friends go there. In 12 games, 328 attempts, which is insane, 1,643 yards rushing. That's 5 yards per carry on 328 carries, might I add. 10 total touchdowns. He also chipped in 27 catches, 240 receiving yards. This is a dual threat back here. This could be the future at running back for the Cincinnati Bengals. Nobody's really talking about it outside of, Bengals fans. So I'm not worried about that rush attack. All right. Tight end. Hayden Hurst. They lost Hayden Hurst. That was unfortunate. Just like Samaje, that was unfortunate. However, if we take a look at last season, Hayden only played 13 games. He caught 52 catches, only 414 yards per game. Obviously, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, both having over 1,000 yards. receiving in the season. Tyler Boyd chipping in 762 yards. Like, the Bengals receiving core is money, absolutely money. But Irv Smith Jr. taking a little bit of, a little risk on Mr. Irv Smith. This is a player who's been in the league since 2019. He's only 24. I think Cincinnati's the perfect breath of fresh air. And when we take a look at an improved offensive line and we look at a nice dual threat running back unit and all those wide receivers that they have, which, by the way, doesn't even end there. They picked up some nice rookies, but wide receiver 4 would probably be Trenton Irwin, who still contributes a lot. So you have a loaded offense. That, Irv Smith isn't going to be like teams' biggest priorities. I think he's going to have a sneaky season. If we look at his NFL career, it hasn't been the best. But keep in mind, he went to Alabama and he was drafted in the 2nd round by the Minnesota Vikings for a reason. I think a good comparison for Irv Smith Jr. on the Cincinnati Bengals literally is Evan Ingram of last season. Evan Ingram, Jacksonville Jaguars, breaks out. First couple of years of his career with the New York Giants, it was like, why do we take this guy in, wasn't even the 1st round? Was it Evan Ingram a 1st round pick? It was like, why do we take this guy so early? Goes to a more coherent offense, a bigger threat offense in Jacksonville, and breaks out. Absolutely breaks out. I think that's exactly what's going to happen with Irv Smith Jr. So, I know, man, the Bengals lost some pieces. At the end of the day, they still have a top 10 undisputed offense and defense. I have zero concerns about the defense at all. Like, no concern in the slightest. Offensively, no concerns in the slightest. So what's the concern with the Cincinnati Bengals? There isn't. It just comes down to getting those wins. And like I said, man, the playoffs, it's just so unfortunate. Because like I said, I covered the Bengals last season. Starts a little shaky, right? Concerns, issues, inconsistency rather with the offensive line. The Bengals get off to a 4-4 start. They finished 12-4. Heading into the first game mid-January against Baltimore in the playoffs. The last time the Bengals lost a football game was on Halloween against Cleveland. That was months and months. That was like 2.5 months ago. This team was red hot. They were finding ways to win games that just weren't even looking good. Like, I'm thinking about the New England game. But then I go back to the week before where they just obliterated on national TV against Tom Brady. They obliterated the Buccaneers. The 34-23 score doesn't even do any justice for how good Cincinnati played in that game. So regular season, Cincinnati's going to win 12 games next year. It's just coming down to, obviously staying healthy, but just getting it done in the playoffs. And it was a really tough, I know it was a really tough loss to Kansas City in the conference championship, but I have no reason to believe why Cincinnati won't be in the same exact position as they were last year. And I think that move of Orlando Brown Jr. and some of these more younger pieces that they have with the already established top, arguably, they're closer to 5 than they are 10, both offensively and defensively. It's probably the best offense in the league. So I just pair all these, I combine all these things together. And I'm like, the Bengals should be at least like the 3rd worst Super Bowl odds. I know it's just kind of hard to argue losing to Kansas City and then Kansas City wins the Super Bowl. So like, at worst the third ranked odds in the Super Bowl, and take all that with a grain of salt. It's just statistics, all just speculation, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, point is Cincinnati Bengals are really good, right? I think we're all aware of that, but yeah, that's it. Hit the like button, hit that sub button. If you want more Bengals videos, let me know down below. I appreciate you guys so much, and I'll see you later.